Hey everybody, this is Mike with Mike's Dark Helmet Minecraft server. And today I want to take a few minutes and show you a quick introduction to Prism. Prism is a grief prevention rollback restore system for Bukkit, Spigot, and other servers. And it's a few months old. The community is very quickly growing. We just hit 10,000 downloads. The response from users has been phenomenal. So many people are just beyond amazed at what Prism does. And I want to take a few minutes and try to show you a little bit of what they see. So Prism 1.6 is coming very soon, and that's what I'll be using today, but it's very similar to what's currently available. After the video, I want you to go to discover-prism.com. That's our site. We've got documentation on everything, a chart. Again, this video is posted there. And the main thing that I want to call out to your attention right now is Prism versus the competition. Now, a lot of people, you've used Logblock, Hawkeye Reloaded, Core Protect. Maybe you're a Big Brother fan, or you were hoping for Guardian to be the shining light that it was supposed to be. But none of those are working out for you. Prism is the one that will. The chart that we have on the site is completely up to date with all the other plugins as far as we're aware. And it shows everything that Prism does that the others don't. Now, I'm not going to read through this. You can do that on your own. Prism tracks 65 different events. You can configure any of that. If you decide you don't want this or that, you can turn off tracking and it just won't be logged. 65 is an immense number. We track so much more stuff. The other plugins, they're in the 20 and 30 range. We have an amazingly configurable wand system. We have a preview system. Obviously, we have a rollback and restore system. We have a huge parameter list. There are so many different parameters, ways that you can search and view the data. We have a flag system that kind of tells Prism how to do something rather than what. Smart grouping, action names, the commands are extremely clean, very human friendly. We go above and beyond tracking stuff. We track entity, color, age, profession, where they were, the ages, so adult, baby. We track beds properly. We restore beds properly. We track doors properly and roll them back, the correct orientation, the correct handle orientation. We roll back signs with sign text, but we have a bunch of additional stuff as well. We have an official web user interface. So if you like to look and search your data, look at and search your data through a website, we've got that. We have additional features that none of the other plugins even want to have at this point. We have ore alerts, so when people find ores, it'll alert the staff. It's extremely useful for finding X-rayers. We have block placement alerts that you can configure, break alerts you can configure when people use a lighter or a lava bucket, people attempting commands. Maybe you don't ever want anybody using the op command. You can kind of blacklist that, get a warning. These are things that none of the other plugins have. We have a completely fully usable API. You can do lookups through the API. You can do rollbacks and restores through the API, and you can even define custom events. So we have some plugins that define custom events that Prism wouldn't normally track, but you can actually do a lookup and a restore and a rollback on custom things. So imagine if somebody sells to a chest shop and there's a lookup or a rollback for that, and you can actually roll it back, remove the item from the inventory, deduct the money from the player that sold it. There's so much possible with the API. And here's a quick look at the events. We track 65 different events. Not a single one of the other plugins tracks this much, but anyway, go to the website yourself, check it out, discover-prism.com. Let's get into showing some of this. So with Prism, it's only been out for a few months, but already so much has happened. The community has been great. People have been filing issues and feature requests when something comes up. People are in IRC all the time. There's like 60 people in IRC right now. And the team behind Prism, which is essentially myself, a little bit of some of the people from our server. Nasonfish helps out now and then. Some of the people help test it on our dev server, but the team behind Prism, we're always in IRC. We're always willing to help. If you need help, come talk to us. We'll try our best. And if there's a bug, we usually have it fixed within a day, depending on what it is anyway. Sometimes there's stuff we can't reproduce. But anyway, so Prism, here we go. With Prism, the idea, like any log block, Core Protect, Hawkeye type plugin, is that you want to track what your players are doing. We track 65 different events, so there's almost nothing that they can do that we don't know of. So let me come over here. I've got this house that I've discovered. Bring out my pickaxe. I'm going to break all this glass. I'm a bad griefer. There we go. All right, I broke all the glass, made my way into the house. Now, the point is, Prism has tracked this. Prism knows almost everything there is to know about this event. There are 3 different ways that you can figure out what happened. If you type PR near, it's going to show you a list of what's happened around you. The radius by default is 5 blocks, so 5 blocks around me. So a cow died by drowning. Boy, that's sad. I feel bad. And a player broke 6 glass. Now we group things together. There's not 6 records of glass showing. You don't have to go through all 100 pages of stone changes. We group all that together so that it's extremely easy for you to see what's happening. Prism, we have a very, very detailed focus on never being spammy. The chat, it's very valuable real estate. We understand that. The chat will show as little, it will take up as little space as possible, yet still show as much information as you need. There's some information that we don't show by default. Now you can turn this on in the config, or you could use the lookup system with a flag. Now I'll get to that in just a moment. So I could see that this player broke 6 glass. Now I'll get to the meat of the story, and I'll just roll it back. I can do PR RB for rollback, or you could type out Prism rollback, and you can use an action, a break. Now again, we have 65 different actions, and you can list all of them by name, but some of them are related. There's a block break, there's a water break. When something's related like that and you just use the word break, it'll know that you mean both of them. So if I roll back the A break, by default Prism's only going to look in a radius. If I don't specify a radius, it's going to use a default of 5 blocks or 10 blocks, whatever the default is, and a default time of the last 3 days. That way you don't kind of impact more than you really intend to. So by rolling back the 6 blocks, I get the 6 glass blocks returning. Obviously it's only 6 blocks, but it is extremely fast. We've done a lot of work making sure that Prism is incredibly fast. So if I didn't want to use the near command, I can also use the lookup command. Now the lookup command is where you're going to use parameters for the first time. Parameters allow you to be very specific about what you're looking for. So again, if I wanted to look for the A break, I could just say Prism L or Prism lookup A break, and that's only going to show me the break events that happened in this area. Now there's a ton of parameters, and I don't have time to go through them at the moment, but we list all this stuff in game and we list all this stuff on the website. With Prism 1.6, this is actually a little out of date. There are some new things. But you could specify the radius. You could set it around you. You could set it for the entire world. You could set it for the chunk. You can set it for global, everything on the server. You could base it around another player. And you can even use a world edit selection. You can again list the action. You could list the block. Maybe you only want to roll back glass. The nice thing is you can use the block name or the block ID. So you could say glass or block 20. You could specify a time, so before or after a certain date. That way you could even have time ranges. You could use the K parameter. That's just a keyword. That way if you're tracking chat or commands, you could look for somebody using a specific word. You could list the entity name, record ID. The player, you can use multiple player names. You can use partial player names. We have an alternate syntax so that you can actually tab complete your player name. You can exclude players or entities. I mean, there's so many different options to get exactly what you want. So if I type in, let's say P lookup R100, so a radius of 100, an entity of cow, we'll get that record that drowning killed the cow. So every single record in your list will have a number, 1, 2, 3, all the way. You can use this to teleport. So I can say PRTP1, and that's actually going to teleport me to the area that the cow had drowned. So it had drowned right out here in this block. So let me go back to where we just were. All right. Oops. So let's go up here and let's break one of these cocoa bean blocks. So if I come in here, one of the things that Prism is excellent with is that we track related changes. So you'll notice I didn't actually touch the cocoa plant. I only broke the block that it was attached to. Yet if I do PR near, it shows that I've actually broken the cocoa plant. So if I do PR rollback a break, that must be a bug in our development build. Well, anyway, most of the time, all of the attachments will come back exactly as they left. So I can take something out of the chest. I took out 12 melon. If I look at PR near, I can see I accessed the chest twice. I took out 12 melon slice. I can actually roll that back. So A remove, so we have an item remove parameter. We have item insert, item drop, pick up. So if I roll that back, bingo, the 12 melon is back in the chest. Prism does so much stuff. You know, we really work hard on getting beds right, doors right, tracking what hoppers are doing, tracking what goes in and comes out of furnaces, brewing stands. We track vehicles, so if you put down a mine cart and a boat, we track that. If you break the boat, we track that. Let's go up here. One of the nice things that Prism does is not only do we track related changes, but we associate some grow events with the player too. So if I had used bone meal for these trees, or if I had planted this sapling, then when the trees grow, it'll show the whole tree as being placed by the player. That way you can roll back the tree growth. So I'll do another rollback here of the A break, and not only do the base soil blocks come back, but again, what was on top came back as well. So let's see here. Let's spawn in some. Let's spawn in some lighters. So somebody goes around your house and they start burning everything down. Now, typically with all the other rollback plugins, you'll be able to see that somebody burned the blocks, somebody lit the fire. So I could say look up a lighter for maybe 100, and I could see that that player used the lighter 6 times. Using PR near is going to show me things burning and decaying. But there's also a third option for looking stuff up, and this is called the wand mode. Now, all the plugins have an inspection wand, but we have wands like nobody else. Not only do we have wands for inspection and rollbacks and restores and a profile wand, we have 4 different wands, but we also have the ability to customize how that wand works. You can have an empty hand. You could use an item like a stick, sugar, or you can use a block system. So if you want to use a log like Hawkeye did, or if you want to use glowstone, you can set that up in your config. 3 different modes that you can have a wand. The nice thing is we even go above that and we allow your players to set their own wand mode. So if I say PR question mark, this is going to give me the in-game help. First of all, you can see wand profile, rollback, restore, or off. We also have the inspect wand. And we have an in-game system. You could say set my wand mode. This will allow anybody on your server to have their own wand settings. They can reset it. They can change it however they want without impacting the actual all server config. So with PRI, if I right click on a block, it's going to show me the location facing me. So if I right click on this side of the block, it's going to show me this empty space location here. So all of these things just burn down. Now if I right click on it, it says burned redwood log just now. If you left click a block, it's going to show you the location for that actual block. This is exactly how the other plugins work. So, oops, just ended up placing a torch. So if I right click, it's going to show me the history. Okay, burned jungle log planks, placed a torch. Now, I'll show you the rollback wand. A rollback wand isn't super handy, but it comes in very handy in very specific circumstances. If there's one thing that you want to roll back, you can right click, just like the wand, and it will roll back that specific location. All right, so I could roll back these things one block at a time if I wanted. Not worth it. So I could just repeat the command, or I can type PR wand off. It's turned off. Now let's do PRRBA burn. Now here's where Prism is awesome. Not only is Prism going to roll back the burn or the break events, I'll say comma break just in case, but Prism is also going to put out any fires that are still going. Now in this case the fire's actually burned itself out, but if you had a huge jungle fire, Prism's actually going to go through, extinguish all those flames before it rolls back. So I'll set a large radius because this was a big area, rolling back both burn and break events. And there we go. The trees are back. It was extremely fast, 376 reversals, which is nothing. Prism does, thousands of reversals in a matter of 1.4 seconds or something. But with TNT, if there's a huge explosion and you roll back the exploding area, we actually remove all the entity or the item drops as well. You could roll back creeper explosions, TNT explosions, entity kills. So let's go, let's see, let's say PR lookup a kill radius of 100. All right, something killed the squid. Interesting. Let's say I'm going to TP to where that cow was. So let's do rollback a kill E cow. So the cow somehow got into the water, poor little guy. But we roll it back. He's going to die again because he's in the water. Prism is also smart in the fact that if you're rolling something back that you or another entity is in the way of, we're going to move those entities out of the way. That way we don't actually suffocate them. Maybe we should add a check for water. So again, we've got 65 different events. We pretty much track everything. If something is informational, like chat or whatever, you can just look at the information. Some information you can roll back, restore. One of the great things is we also have a preview mode. So if you're not sure that the rollback is actually going to do what you hope it does, so if I type in PRPV, or you can type in preview, roll back a break, what this is going to do is it's going to show me the changes. Now this is only for me. If other people are around, they won't see this. This is only for me. It does not actually have any impact on the server yet. So if I see, okay, that's exactly what I want, then I can say PRPV apply. And it's going to actually roll it back. If I don't like what I saw, I can type in cancel, PRPV cancel. And that will just undo the changes that I had looked at. So with logs, if I say our global, let's see if we have that turned on. We do. So with a global lookup, we're going to show you some extended information. Now this is information that normally doesn't show, but because this could be anywhere and isn't actually near you, there's a lot that we have to look at. You can also turn that on by default in the config, so if you always want to see that extra information, let's get a shovel here. What is it, 277? There we go. So let me go around and break a ton of stuff. There we go. So there's a lot of activity here. So let's say near. All right. So there's 2 pages of information. Even though we're condensing, there's still 2 pages of information. So if I wanted to do a lookup, let's say radius of 100, I can use a flag. Now flags are things that I really don't have time to cover all of them, but flags are things that will tell Prism exactly how you want something to work. You can turn off the ability to extinguish fires on burn rollbacks. You can remove the ability to clear items after an explosion. You can share your results with another player. I mean, there's so many different things. If I use that extended flag, it's going to show me the extended information for every record. It's not going to group them. It's going to show me the exact timestamp. It's going to show me the world. And it's going to show me the exact coordinates. So it's going to show me all of this information. There are, I don't know, like 10 flags now. So I suggest you look at the in-game help. So if you type PR flags, you can see all the flags, drain lava, water clear, all of those. And there's descriptions here. There's descriptions on our site. So one of the other things that we do is we have features that other plugins don't have. I've mentioned the ore alerts. They're extremely useful. If people find diamonds, 6 diamonds here, 7 diamonds here, 8 diamonds here, and it's all within a matter of minutes, you have an idea that they're probably cheating somehow. You can turn that off if you don't want it. We have an extinguish command, so if you just want to extinguish fire without doing a rollback, you can. If you want to drain water, you can. We have an undo system for the drain. With 1.6, we actually also have, let's fly. We actually also have a system to preview the borders of the chunk. With Prism 1.6, we actually allow you to do a radius of a chunk. And we've used a lot of plugins that do things based off of the chunk. And this is something I've always wanted, even outside of Prism. So if I type in PR view chunk, it's going to give me a preview. Again, this is not actually happening in the real world, of where the current chunk boundaries are. So I can see the boundary. This is the edge of the chunk. Now this is useful even if you don't use Prism for the rollback part. This is useful if you use Towny and you can't figure out where your plots are going to be, or you're trying to use World Edit and you're trying to figure out where the chunk is. Anyway, to turn that off, I could just repeat the command PR view chunk, takes the picture away. So there's so many extra things that really make Prism special, and I highly recommend you check it out. One of the things that Prism is doing well with so far is so many people respond positively to our support. If you have a comment, you file a bug, or you file a feature request, or if you come to IRC with a problem, we are normally right there to help you, and we'll try our best. If it's a MySQL issue, or you're just having a question about how something in Prism works, we'll be there to help you out. Again, go to the site, discoverprism.com. We've got documentation. We've got some other information. Eventually we'll have some forums or something up there, but that is Prism. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.